afternoon. Welcome to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita. Kevin Gallagher still recuperating from his treatments. He will be back with us before you know it. But in the meantime, it is just us. The big story today for everybody in our viewing area, from Acadiana all the way to the Mississippi border, is this disturbance. It is still an invest, but it is very likely to become Tropical Storm Claudette sometimes in the next 36 hours. It has started to move north toward Louisiana at about 9:30 this morning. And it's going to develop into a tropical, 90% chance of development into a tropical depression where it will get its name probably around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. tonight. The big thing about this system is rain. 8 to 10 inches through South Louisiana and possibly more as it progresses. That's the bad news. The good news is that it is a fast mover. It is not going to linger. So while you may have some heavy rain, it's not going to be heavy rain for 5 or 6 hours. It's going to move off very, very quickly. Strong winds, tropical storm force gusts, and isolated tornadoes are possible. Now, some of the models are showing this thing making a bit of an eastward turn as it approaches the coast of Louisiana. It's still too early to have a lot of certainty about that. But if that is going to be the case, the heaviest rain is going to be in the New Orleans area or east of the New Orleans area into Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula, Mobile. We are still going to get a forecast amount of Lafayette, probably 4 to 6 inches, Baton Rouge, 5 to 7 inches. The North Shore could be 8 to 10 inches. This is what they're saying right now. I don't think I have to remind you that the ground is pretty much saturated throughout South Louisiana, so this water is not going to drain quickly. So if you've got areas that hold water around your house, if you've got a drainage ditch, for example, take a look at it today. See if there's any debris or anything in it that would make it flow more slowly and get it cleaned out. Now, the hurricane hunters are going to fly into this disturbance this afternoon. That is usually where we get our best information about the storm itself. They will give us wind at the center, they will give us the barometric pressure, and that's going to tell us a lot about how this storm is going to act over the next 12 to 24 hours. One of the things that we need to look at, again, because drainage is so compromised throughout our area, is where can you get sandbags? Gonna start with the Lafayette area. For those of you in Acadiana, they have opened up a bunch of sandbag locations, and they will allow you to go ahead and get what you need. In Lafayette Parish, 400 Dugas Road, Foster Park, and the Scott Public Works Building. In Broussard, City Hall, Broadview Drive, and Deer Meadow Subdivision, Karen Crow's Community Center, Doosan Park, Foster Park in Youngsville, in Iberia Parish, Acadian Ballpark, the BOM Fire Station on Jeanneret Road, the Grand Marais Fire Station, the Coteau Fire Station, the Delcombe City Barn, the Laurelville City Park, Jeanneret Fire Department and Ranella Fire Department, in Opelousas, the Yambilee Building, and in Eunice, the Northwest Community Center, St. Mary Parish in Franklin, Caffrey Park in Maurice, the Village of Maurice Public Works Station. Now, a little closer to where I'm sitting, we are coming to you, by the way, live from Bayou Barbecue on Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here in our area, they have opened up sandbagging sites. By the way, these are, bring your own shovel to these, in case you didn't know this. In Ascension, Prairieville Fire Department, Paula Park, the 5th Ward Fire Department, the Butch Gore Memorial Park, Ascension Parish Fire Protection District 1 in Gonzales, Stevens Park, Jackie Robinson Memorial Park, Galvaz Lake Fire Station, Prairieville Primary School, Raymond Toulier Road in Sorrento, Ridge Road at Klein Peter Road, the end of Buxton Road in Sandoval, and the DPW building on Church Street in Donaldsonville. Now, in East Baton Rouge, there are, let's see, 3, 6, 8 Breck Parks, the Airline Highway Park at the Fairgrounds, Allison Park, the Breck Cadillac Street Park, Breck Doyle's Bayou Park, way up north at Port Hudson Pride Road, the Flannery Road Park, the Breck Hartley Bay at Gardier Park, the Breck Lovett Road Park, the Breck Memorial Stadium, West Baton Rouge Parish, William and Lee Park, Revolt Park, Alexander Park, Irwinville Park, Myhan Park, Tangipahoa, Natalbany Main Fire Station, Laranger Main Fire Station, Husser Main Fire Station, Wilmer Main Fire Station, Kentwood Main Fire Station, Independence Main Fire Station, 8th Ward Fire Station on LA 445, Bedico's new fire station, the Ponchatoula Fire Station on LA 22, the Hammond Baptist Fire Station, St. James Parish Grand Point Fire Station, South Vacherie Fire Training Center, and Kingview Fire Station. This is what we know at this time. I want to go back to Ascension Parish. Most of Ascension is in a critical situation right now. According to the parish president, DPW director in the parish, and also their emergency preparedness director, they have still got water from the major rain event that we had the week of May 18th through 21st. The situation is not good in Ascension Parish. So I'm going to tell our good friends in Ascension, they have got, looks to be about 18 locations to get sandbags, and they've got plenty of sand. If you think that you need sandbags, you probably do. Go and get them. Iberville Parish, particularly northeast Iberville, you're in the same situation as Ascension. Go and get sandbags. For the rest of us, now is the time. Don't wait until tomorrow at this time when the rain may well be falling. Go ahead and do that right now. We'll talk a little more about this in just a moment, right after this break on Exiles TV. Stick around.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing
taste the feeling.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us this morning. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that gun violence is going up everywhere you could see this program. In Carencro last night. Carencro. Somebody walked up to an apartment complex, saw some person out in the front yard of one of the apartments and just shot them in the head. Person is still alive. We had the report from New Orleans last week of the birthday party that got crashed by people with guns. 21 people were injured. Fortunately, nobody was killed. Very little has gotten the type of attention that two of the most recent shootings in Baton Rouge have gotten, however. The one where the 18-month-old girl was killed along with two adult males in what seemed to be a planned hit. And then the alleged road rage incident that ended up with somebody dead after gunfire in the parking lot of Be Quick on Perkins Road. Again, an area that's thought to be relatively immune from crime. I don't think I've ever passed by the Be Quick station that is attached to Benny's Car Wash without seeing a police unit there, because they operate a fuel man station there where police, fire, EMS, DPW can fill up using the fuel man system that the city parish pays for. You got to be a real dummy to pull a gun at Be Quick. Well, we have no shortage of dummies. For the first time in a very long time, the business community is speaking up about crime in Baton Rouge. I can't speak to Lafayette. I know in New Orleans they've spoken about it. Justin Alford, who's the owner of Benny's Car Wash and the Be Quick convenience store, is calling upon other business people and business leaders to get in the game here and help us fight this violent street crime. Quoting him, he says, "It's hurting our city, it's hurting our image. Baton Rouge is better than this. We can fix it, we can get over it." It is my understanding that Mr. Alford is going to organize some meetings with other business people and try to come up with something constructive that the business community can do about crime. He, like a lot of people, say a big part of the kind of crime we've got has to do with poor education and lack of employment. It has been pointed out time and time again that people who have a job to go to every day, who spend 8 hours there, don't have a lot of time to be riding around in a car with a gun in their lap looking to shoot somebody. That is the truth. But you know what? Every one of the businesses that I pass that has hourly employees, that has jobs to offer, has got a sign out saying, "Help wanted, apply within, come inside." And we don't see a lot of people picking up these jobs because the money and the freedom, until you get caught, of a criminal life are a lot more appealing than having to answer to a manager or a boss between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. or 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. every single day. I'm not poo-pooing Mr. Alford's idea. He has built a very successful business. It seems like there's a Benny's Car Wash on every street corner. His businesses have seen crime up close and personal. I'm not poo-pooing what he's doing, but I'm also saying that business leaders can't do it all. And they can't do it by offering jobs. When we say fight crime, we're at the point now where we can't talk our way out of crime. We are going to have to fight crime in this city. We are going to have to meet force with force, because it has gotten to the point in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, in Lafayette, in a lot of cities, where it's almost become a military operation. Hell, these teenagers are armed like military. They got ARs, they got AKs, they got SKSs, they got Glocks with 30-round magazines. We are not going to talk or program our way out of this. Not on the front end. Maybe in the middle. Maybe on the back end. But business leaders, do your thing. Just remember that you probably need to do it with a gun in your belt. We have a problem. And if history has taught us anything, the magnitude of the problem when you have got young, violent people that are the biggest part of your problem, talking is not going to get it done. Jobs? Oh yeah, that will help a great deal. But first you gotta make them see that they're better off inside working for you than they are outside waiting to kill or be killed. That is the big hurdle. Don't get together and have a kumbaya meeting around a basketball court at a Breck Park at midnight, because they'll eat your donuts and they'll drink your Coke and then probably cap somebody on the way home. Don't do it. Go in strong and be careful about it. Daryl Gissel, Chief Administrative Officer for the City and Parish of East Baton Rouge, will join us as we talk about what's going on with storm preps and what we might expect. Stick around, more to come.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. Check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
We are back on Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. A reminder, you want a great lunch? Bayou Smokehouse Barbecue, which is where we are. They do have great barbecue, and you can watch the show while you're doing it, Clarence and then me. But do come on by 10655 Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge. And second reminder, you can watch the replay of this show at 10 o'clock tonight on this very same channel. Joining me now, Daryl Gissel, who is the Chief Administrative Officer for East Baton Rouge Parish in the city of Baton Rouge. Daryl, good to have you along.
Good being here. The food smells great.
The food is great. Marty, we got a little ring off happening with the monitor. Can you give us a hand with that? It's a little bit, there we go. It went away. There we go. Little too much input, I think. A little too much input on the old microphone. But we are preparing for a storm.
We are.
DPW crews are out, drainage and all that. But we've also been having a storm of crime. And I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit. Right. It's not like everybody's sitting around on their hands, but no. There's a whole lot to do.
And you mentioned Benny Alford. Benny, is a great business guy, and Benny certainly hires a lot of youth and puts them to work in his car washes and does a great job. In a meeting with business people the other day, they were asking Murphy, the chief, what can we do to help? And business people will frequently say, we can give money, what can we do, how can we step up? And I gave the story of Jim Bernhardt from Bernhardt Capital, who Jim went to deal with a group or work with a group of kids at Terra High School who were kids who were really having problems on the verge of being expelled, and he got their attention in a small meeting, and when he finally got their attention, he said, put out your hand. He put a $100 bill in each person's hand, and he said, if you're willing to work with me, he said, there'll be a lot more of that. He got their attention. He promised to take those kids, pay their way through college if they worked with him. That's part of what we have to do. The mayor gave an impassioned statement in a meeting the other day with some of the business leaders explaining that for 4 years since she's been in office, she's talked about disinvested communities. And this really is what we're seeing. And I know you talked, Bill, about people who, job vacancies, realizing in City Parish, for instance, we have lots of vacancies and we have a hard time filling some of those. And, the lowest paid job may be $22,000 a year with benefits, not necessarily a bad way to start.
No.
But you have to be drug-free. You have to be able to pass certain minimum reading requirements. So in many cases, we have people who can't do that. And I think that's what we have to address. We have to get to that root cause of where are we. Some of the crimes that have happened recently, some of those activities started as disputes in Lafayette and New Roads and ended up in Baton Rouge. So it's not just a Baton Rouge issue. We're seeing it all over the country.
Oh, we are. There's no doubt about that.
I think Austin, which we often emulate, we want to be like Austin. Austin just had that huge mass shooting there. I think their crime rate is up like 80% if I remember seeing those numbers.
Yeah.
So again, we know part of that is related to the pandemic where people's lives have kind of been turned around, things that we all do for emotional release. We couldn't do them for a long time. But again, it's unacceptable and we know we have to deal with it. Well, it's exposing that soft underbelly that's there.
Austin doesn't have the educational problems that we do.
Right.
Austin doesn't have the lack of employment that we do. But I do think what Austin has is they have had a very hands-off policy from their police department with basically hanging out, loitering, looking for trouble, starting arguments, that kind of stuff. And I think they are seeing that the permissiveness that is part of their city culture is coming back to haunt them. I think they're an outlier when it comes to this.
Well, and on one of the governmental ends that really sounds unusual to say, one of the partners in all of this actually is a public defender's office. Our public defender's office, let's say you're arrested. The minute you go to your initial arraignment, there's a team of people who work with you, a bail bondsman, an attorney, a social worker, to figure out why you're here and what do you need to do to get on your feet. I mean, part of it is we know we can't just, not bring people to prison, but the question is how do we address the reason why they're there and prevent that revolving door where they keep coming back every day. I mean, the revolving door costs us not only socially but financially.
Oh, it costs financially five different ways.
I gave an example. We had a meeting yesterday with the Bridge Center, the law enforcement team, and all the hospitals and the coroner's office to talk about some of the issues we have with people with mental health issues, substance abuse, homeless, etc. And what came out of that is we're dealing with some of those same people over and over and over again. So what came out of yesterday's meeting is creating a crisis collaborative team so that among all those groups we can say, who are the high flyers this month? How do we address it? One of those people, there was an episode yesterday where there was a hostage or a standoff with the police. The person involved in that standoff had 18 protective custody orders placed against him since 2013.
18 in 8 years.
And I think it really was his family saying, we're having an issue here. That same person had been in and out of facilities, so we know we have an issue. How do we address it? It clogs up the system, and we're not doing any benefit to the person involved in that.
Well, I think we have so many different paths here.
Right.
And the Bridge Center is supposed to help with that, but the Bridge Center does not have a response unit.
It actually, the way it works, and it was very much explained yesterday, you're the law enforcement officers who bring someone there. They will triage you and take care of it, and they will direct you on where you need to go. If they send you to the hospital, they want you to come back so they can do the long-term treatment to figure out where you need to go. There are a lot of components of that, and it's been a huge blessing in terms of what it's done so far.
But more to the point is, are we looking to do what some other large cities are doing? There's a pilot program in San Francisco. They have a big homeless problem.
Mm-hmm.
They have
probably the worst.
Yeah, probably. And they have a drug abuse problem.
Mm-hmm.
And they put together an emergency response unit that when the police department gets a 911 call about a person making a disturbance.
Mm-hmm.
They roll an EMS unit that has got a mental health person on board, and the cops get there first.
Right.
They say, do we need you or do they need me? And then they try to take that person under their care, not into custody, not to jail, but to their version of the Bridge Center.
And that actually is the way the Bridge Center works here is EMS and the police deliver the person to the Bridge Center and the work is done there. So, I mean, those groups are all engaged in it, and they do have a unit. They have a special unit with EMS that actually works on that also.
And that is one track. The other track is it's a very, very Lord of the Flies sociology type of thing. We have a large number of young people, and they may not be able to get a job because of the drugs. They may not read at a certain level, but they are angry and they are armed, and they have to be dealt with in a more immediate and forceful manner.
And we have gang issues, but I'll explain. When I first came aboard with the city doing this like three and a half years ago, Hiller is the DA explained that the number one issue are illegal guns. And I said, could you explain what is an illegal gun? I don't understand what the definition is. And he said, most of these illegal guns are being stolen from cars. Murphy did a number the other day. I want to say since January this year, there were 297 or 267 guns stolen out of cars. 60% of those came out of Riverbend.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so the message is lock up your car. I had a tenant who was a military person who had an assault weapon stolen out of his vehicle. You can't leave a gun in a vehicle. So there's some simple things we can do to try and arrest some of this also.
Well, this is a pet peeve of mine. In my neighborhood, you're required to have a garage.
And people park on the street.
People park in their driveway, They don't lock their vehicles, and they leave their cell phone, their computer, and their firearm.
Right.
And all you're doing is taking a kid from being a door handle shaker to being an armed robber or a murderer. And it's so damn stupid.
So there's simple things that we can do. When people say, what can we help to reduce crime? Those are some of the simple things. But actually getting engaged in some of those communities and some of those programs. When we were all kids, you had programs like Junior Achievement and things like that that actually went in and helped people get on the right track. A lot of that stuff has fallen by the wayside.
Well, and a lot of it has fallen by the wayside in between the ears of a lot of the trigger pullers, as Hiller calls them. They don't want to hear about how they can have a better life. They are convinced that this is their life until it ends with somebody else's bullet. They are hopeless, they are fatalistic, and that makes them extra dangerous.
Well, I did a project in New Orleans years ago, and someone who worked with us, there was a shooting incident on Poydras right next to one of our buildings. And someone there explained, you have to understand that if your life has no meaning to you, if you're that disengaged, then that means that the other person's life has no meaning also. I mean, it's hard. I think it's hard for us to comprehend that people can be at that point, that that's the way they look at life. That's not easy to change.
No, well, it's not easy. We don't want to believe that.
No, and if you look at some of the areas of Baton Rouge that are really disinvested, I had someone who said some of these areas look like a third world country. They didn't know they were there. So I think those are the things that we struggle to address every day. How do we improve that?
I mean, I have personally seen, and this is 15 years ago, I have personally seen a kid that couldn't have been more than 12 riding his bicycle in his own neighborhood up by the airport, and I could see the .40 caliber chrome automatic he has in his waistband. Now, if I can see it, I know his mom can see it.
Well, and realizing in some neighborhoods, gun violence is a way of life every day. I mean, you know, we had one neighborhood group that complained about people driving down the road shooting guns in the air. That's totally unacceptable. You know, and the police have to help deal with that. Not easy. It's not easy to track somebody down who's doing that. Where did the bullet come from?
I think what we're seeing, though, is we're seeing, I don't want to call it a panic, because nobody's panicking.
No.
But I am seeing a very, very steely resolve from the people who are not involved, but are worried that their home, their kids, their neighborhood is going to fall victim to it. And there's going to be some casualties if we don't get these guns off the street real soon.
And realizing Murphy stressed, and we know that number's true, just if you look at some of the issues that we have out there, we don't have a huge lawless population. We have a small percentage,
6%.
and that's what we need to deal with. And it's like the mental health, substance abuse. We're dealing with the same people over and over and over again. And in city government, any entity, any business, you know, it takes collaborative efforts to make it work. And we've got a lot of good things going on in city government in terms of those collaborations.
Well, none of us are going to solve it overnight.
No, no.
But in the meantime, I really do wish that we'd get some warrants out on the street and looking for all these guns.
Yeah.
You know, as many as we can pick up as quickly as we can pick them up. Because people are going to die.
Right. And talking about storms and drainage.
Let's take a break here and then we'll go to that.
Okay.
A brief break. We'll be back with more with Daryl Gissel, CAO for East Baton Rouge Parish, in a moment on Exiles TV.
Food really does smell great.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. Check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Right. So,
welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. Daryl Gissel, who is the CAO of East Baton Rouge Parish, I want to talk about the upcoming storm and what kind of preparations are underway. And Daryl, I'm just going to kind of follow you on this. I know everybody's out in every one of the parishes.
Right.
I have never seen as many DPW units out as I've seen, and everybody is out there working.
I think our guys are just, they're exhausted. I mean, you talked about all the storms we had. We had a emergency preparedness meeting maybe 2 months ago, and somebody mentioned in the meeting that hurricane season started on June 6th, and the mayor put her head down and said, please don't talk about this again. I mean, everybody's exhausted. What you talked about, storm after storm, the COVID episode. We've stood up our emergency preparedness center more in the last year than probably it's ever been done.
We have had a year's worth of rain already.
2021, right. And so we talked about Bayou Fountain, for example. Someone at Stanford called the other day and yesterday and said, what are you going to do about the issue on Stanford? Because it had a huge issue in that rainstorm and the low point. And I explained to them that Bayou Fountain is backed up because it empties into Wards Creek, and Wards Creek is backed up because it empties into Bayou Manchac. Fred Rayford, who runs drainage, who is Herculean in terms of what Fred does. Mm-hmm. Fred actually took a boat down Bayou Manchac the other day personally himself to see if there were any blockages that he could see. He said the blockages aren't there. It's just the massive volume of water that's trying to get out. Into
Gravity always wins.
Yeah. So we know what we're faced with. I think the good news, and I don't want to have a prediction, but it sounds like, the story that there's going to be 3 to 6 inches of rain, that's over a 2 or 3 day period. So it sounds like that we're not going to see the 13 inches of rain all at once.
Well, the thing we have to worry about, and I was talking with some meteorologists late last night about this, is that it looks like it's going to shift east. Like Biloxi is going to have it a lot worse than we do.
Right.
And we instead of what they were saying 5 to 8, 3 to 6 looks like it, but there's still going to be what they're now calling these bullseyes. Mm-hmm. It might only be a mile wide, but if you're underneath it, it's going to get 10 inches in an hour.
Right. And I haven't heard. I've heard that the fear of that is somewhat lessened. But our guys are involved with the National Weather Service, the the local meteorologist. So I think there's a call at 12 o'clock with our emergency guys. So they're on top of that every way that we can be. And we make full preparations. Our guys are out doing everything they can to check blockages that people have reported. But, you know, if you consider that massive amount of rainfall, as things flow through there, if there's anything that's an obstruction, it's going to find its way down when that water's high.
Yeah.
I think we had one of those episodes where we found a commercial refrigerator in one of those drain pipes. So, you know, the trick is keeping people from throwing things in the waterways.
Well, and that's harder than solving our crime problem, I think.
But to explain, in Baton Rouge, we have thousands of miles of waterways that we deal with in terms of storm drains, canals, bayous, et cetera, tributaries. The stormwater master plan that's been talked about since I came aboard with City Parish, and in all the discussions, I'm the layman. I always say if I can understand it, anybody can. The best way to understand that stormwater master plan that's 80% complete at this point is that they're examining hundreds of thousands of inlets, manhole covers, storm drains, to determine where the water goes from the minute it hits the ground to the time it leaves the parish. So that, and all this discussions about moratoriums on development, et cetera, that study has already produced results in terms of changing ordinances that we have in place. I mean, we've made a lot of changes on where you can bring in fill for a development, et cetera. So while people say we don't want any more studies, this study is really a one-of-a-kind study. It's a $15 million study in terms of scope.
Well,
so,
I mean, your situations change. We've seen that.
Right.
You have to have some academic look, whether you want to call it a study or not, as to what your current situation has changed to.
Right.
Is there any thought, once we get past emergency levels, of actually getting in there and perhaps getting the feds to help us and make Ward's Creek larger, make
that's
Fire
actually
Fountain larger?
You know, the 5 Tributaries project, which is a $255 million project, that's been funded by the feds. We had to come up with a huge match, and you may remember that was a big discussion. I think the match required City Parish to come up with $60 million, and people said, why can't the City Parish write a check for $60 million? Well, as a taxpayer, if we were sitting on $60 million, you'd say, why do you have that money?
Yeah, why is it sitting?
So that we bonded some of that debt, and we've gotten some extra money from the state to do it, so we have our match. The issue there is, in order to move those projects forward, it's not a 5-minute fix. You need tons of approval from the Army Corps of Engineers, environmental clearances. Those things are all in the works, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Are we gonna have to interact with CPRA as well? Because I know that these things, most of our tributaries do not drain into the Mississippi, do they?
Right, no. Other waterways. The Corps is the big hurdle in all of this. I think Fred explained that he had one study or whatever he submitted, or one project. It's been on the drawing board for 2 or 3 years, and we just got approval. So as hard as we can push, and I can assure everybody that no one's sitting back just waiting for somebody to approve something. I mean, we constantly push on that.
Well, we have thousands of miles of water, and we've got probably a couple hundred of miles, if you take all the bends and turns, that isn't moving at all right now.
And I was thinking about it the other day. I was on a street and realizing if the curb is maybe 12 inches off of the street or 11 inches, if you have 13 inches of rain in a short period of time and the street fills up, there's no way that street's going to empty out that quick.
No.
We don't have any drainage capacity to do that.
Even though it will move very, very quickly because it's on a street, it's not going to go anywhere.
The trick is trying to make sure that we aren't building in low areas where the water can't go anywhere.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. The Planning Commission, I think, for the last 20 years has done a very, very good job. The Horizon Plan, and it was followed by other plans, which required, for example, if you're in a commercial building with a big parking lot, you get some benefit, tax breaks and things like that for putting in, broken aggregate, so that the water doesn't move like a waterfall, so that it moves more like a brook, so that you don't overload the storm drains and things like that. Has that been effective in East Baton Rouge Parish?
Well, I'll give an example. Last night, I think it was last night, I pulled this before I went, the Planning Commission actually adopted 2 or 3 new things based somewhat on that stormwater plan. Additional requirements mandated for drainage impact studies on a developer, and they also required more open space in terms of green spaces. I mean, all those things play into it. You know, people say we don't want to take away all our green space. Well, that's part of a development. You have to make sure that part of that's built into those plans.
And are we still requiring people to do, like, let's say they're doing an 80-house subdivision, that they have a retention area that is built in because of all the elevation they're creating?
Yeah, I mean, they have to have an offset if they're bringing in fill, and then some of the new requirements in the code say that in certain areas you can't bring in fill. So I mean, we've tightened a lot of things up. When other parishes say we want a moratorium, and I know our council's getting ready to examine some of that, we've made a lot of those changes that other places haven't done yet.
Well, we're doing the best we can with what we've got.
But it doesn't help people who, you know, have flooded, who are concerned, get fearful every time they see a rainstorm.
Well, and we've had a lot of that. Our neighboring parishes have had more of it than we have, quite frankly. But you know, one is enough to get you fearful. When the rain starts falling tomorrow evening, and we start to see water accumulating, if people see something that requires attention, do we want them to go through the 211 number? How do they get in touch?
311.
311, excuse me. 211.
311 is always the way. And I can say that the mayor understands flooding in a personal way. I mean, she flooded in 2016 in the middle of the mayor's campaign when she was running for office. So I think it took the mayor almost a year to get back into her own house. So she understands the fear that people go through with this.
And emergency services are going to be very, very busy. Call 911 if there's a life-threatening emergency or you see a spark or a flame, but otherwise use 311. And I would imagine you're staffed up there.
We are. And if you're driving down the road, make sure that you know where you're going. Don't drive in an area that's flooded. In a lot of cases, people don't see that coming. We know we have a number of spots that go under. The area around the governor's mansion on the interstate. There's that area on Acadian that has an issue.
But see, this time was odd because we had the newest section of Bluebonnet that on the 18th of May, I counted 9 cars that got drowned. You know, it was dry by the time I went by on the 18th. But
and Fred Rayford's explained this to me. We had a huge downpour, I guess it was a year ago or whatever, and hit downtown, which is where I live, and I had a tenant who called and said they had water in their apartment. It's like, that can't be possible. I thought the levee broke. And when I called Fred, he said, no, it's a huge downpour. And he said, I'm explaining, he said, all the pumps are going, everything's in place. He said, the minute the rain stops, it's all going to go away. And that's exactly what happened. You know, it was just the sheer volume that we couldn't handle.
Can't fight Mother Nature. Gerald Gissel, always a pleasure to have you with us, and I know you all are going to be very, very busy, over the weekend, and we appreciate what you do, by the way, and we wish you good luck, and hopefully this thing will pass very, very quickly. We'll be back to wrap it up on Exiles TV in just a moment. Stick around.
Thanks.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. All right, we know what's going on with the weather. We have all been advised. My good buddy Clarence talked about this, and I wanted to take a little bite of this apple as well. We're finding out more about the gunfight that killed a 16-year-old outside an apartment complex in the month of May. We have got 3 teenagers who are under arrest. They will be facing charges. Jesse Harris, who is 18 years of age, and 2 juvenile suspects, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, have been arrested in the shooting that occurred on May 23rd. So I guess about 2.5 weeks ago. The other suspects were not identified because they're juveniles. So we have that again. Here's what happened according to the report from BRPD. The teen who was killed, by the way, he wasn't killed on the scene, he died later at the hospital, was found sitting in a black Honda on Sharp Lane, severely wounded from a gunshot. The victim was 16-year-old Joseph Antoine. He died several days later at a local hospital. They found some surveillance video, and they went combing through all these Ring cameras and things like that, things that were on stores, surveillance cameras. And here's what they found. A crowd of teenagers in the street, a crowd of teenagers in the Honda. Gunfire erupted after the black Honda passed by the other group of teenagers. When that happened, a passenger in the rear of the car fired shots at the group that was on foot. Another person in the crowd then fired at the vehicle the second time it drove past them. So the 18-year-old Jesse Harris is facing a charge of second-degree murder. The 16-year-old is facing 9 counts of attempted second-degree murder. And the 15-year-old is charged with 1 count of second-degree murder. Now, I don't know how they do the math on this. And it's not really that important. What's important is the math on what happened. You got a bunch of kids in the street. That's not that unusual, right? They're all under the age of 18. That's not that unusual either. They're all freaking armed. They're armed. And they're not armed with knives or short baseball bats. They are armed with firearms. And then you have a group of teenagers cruising. That's not that unusual. Now, one of them does happen to be 18, but the others are teenagers. They're cruising around in their black Honda Accord. And they're armed. They have firearms. I don't know if the video from the incident was good enough for the cops to notice how many guns were pulled in this confrontation. But I bet it was more than 3. It might have been more than 10. If you don't think we have a serious problem in this area with people who are under the age of 21, read the police report on this. It's a public record. They had less guns at the showdown at the OK Corral in 1886, for God's sake. And the guns they had weren't as good as these. This is the problem. This is the math that scares me. Kids hanging out, hey, get off my lawn. That's been going on since there were kids and places to hang out. But the fact that 15 and 16-year-olds are hanging out armed is bothersome. And the fact that the kids are cruising and 2/3 of the car was under the age of 18 and they're armed. This is math that we cannot live with. This is math that's going to become very, very dangerous very, very quick. And I'll tell you why. Because you know what? The kids who go to Episcopal, if they like to go to some of these places, they're going to worry that they're the only ones that aren't armed there. This is going to get very, very dangerous quickly. And we will be lucky if a number of these kids and the adults who try to intervene survive this. Keep an eye on the number of guns and who's holding them. Thank you for being with us. Everybody stay safe, stay dry. Remember, call 311 if you see a problem during this rainstorm. They will respond to you. Thanks for being with us. We'll get together again next time. Take care.